Once the raw sugar gets to the refinery, we go through the affination station or...
Every spoonful of sugar begins a long journey, from sun-drenched sugarcane fields to the pure white crystals in your kitchen. This transformation is driven by nature, machinery, and precise chemistry. Today we'll follow the complete process of how sugar is made from cane, from harvesting and juice extraction to refining, crystallization, and packaging. Sugar begins its journey in the fields, where vast rows of tall green stalks sway under the tropical sun. Sugarcane thrives in warm, humid climates and is primarily grown in countries like Brazil, India, Thailand, and parts of the southern United States. Each stalk is essentially a giant grass, growing up to 10 feet tall and packed with sweet juice inside its fibrous core. Farmers prepare the land months in advance, planting cane either by seeds or cuttings from mature stalks. With proper irrigation, fertilization, and pest control, the crop slowly matures over the course of 12 to 18 months. By the time the cane is ready for harvest, its juice contains the highest concentration of natural sucrose. But this is just the beginning. When harvest season arrives, speed is essential. Sugarcane must be processed quickly after cutting, ideally within 24 hours, or the natural sugars begin to degrade, reducing both quality and yield. That's where modern mechanical harvesters come in. These massive machines drive through the fields, cutting the stalks at the base, stripping off the leaves, and chopping the cane into short segments known as billets. A single harvester can collect up to 100 tons of cane in a single day. The billets are then loaded onto trucks and transported immediately to the sugar mill. Timing is everything. The closer the field is to the mill, the better the juice quality. Once the cane arrives, the next phase begins, extracting every drop of sugary juice from the freshly cut stalks. At the mill, the freshly cut cane is unloaded onto large conveyor belts that carry it toward a series of heavy-duty crushing mills. These mills use massive steel rollers to press and squeeze the cane, forcing out the juice contained within the fibrous stalks. But it's not a one-step process. The cane passes through multiple crushing stages, each one designed to extract more juice than the last. To improve efficiency, hot water may be sprayed onto the cane between mills, a technique called imbibition, to help wash out the remaining sugars. By the end of this process, over 90% of the juice is extracted. What's left behind is called bagasse, a dry, pulpy material made of cane fiber. But this byproduct isn't wasted. Bagasse is burned as biofuel to power the mill's boilers, making many sugar factories nearly energy self-sufficient. Meanwhile, the extracted juice, murky, greenish, and full of impurities, is sent on to be purified and clarified. That's where the real transformation begins. The raw sugarcane juice, straight from the crushing mills, is far from sweet and crystal clear. It's a cloudy, greenish liquid filled with bits of fiber, dirt, and organic compounds. If left untreated, it would quickly ferment and spoil. To turn this murky juice into something usable, the first step is heating. The juice is pumped into large tanks and brought to a boil at around 100 degrees Celsius to 212 Celsius. Heating helps to kill off microbes and prepares the juice for chemical treatment. Next, a carefully measured amount of lime, calcium hydroxide, is added to the hot juice. This raises the pH level and causes impurities, such as proteins, waxes, and suspended solids, to clump together and settle out. This mixture then flows into massive clarifiers, large settling tanks where gravity does the work. Over time, the solid impurities sink to the bottom, forming a layer of sludge that is removed and sometimes reused as fertilizer. The clearer juice, now amber in color, is skimmed from the top and sent onward for evaporation. While it may still look like syrup, it's now free from the bulk of impurities and ready for the next big step, concentration. Now purified, the sugarcane juice still contains about 85% water. Crystallization is where syrup turns into sugar. It's a carefully controlled process, part science, part precision art. The thick cane syrup is pumped into large vacuum pans, enclosed vessels where boiling occurs under low pressure. This allows the syrup to boil at lower temperatures, reducing the risk of burning the sugar and helping to control the size of the crystals. To begin crystallization, technicians add tiny seed crystals, microscopic grains of sugar that act as nuclei. As the syrup cools and water continues to evaporate, sugar molecules latch onto the seeds, slowly forming larger and larger crystals. This growing mixture of syrup and sugar crystals is known as masacuate, a thick, slushy material that resembles wet sand. Once the crystals reach the desired size and purity, the masacuate is ready for separation. But at this stage, sugar and syrup are still tightly intermixed. That's where centrifugal force comes in. To separate the sugar crystals from the remaining syrup, the masacuate is fed into high-speed centrifuges. These spinning drums act like giant salad spinners, rotating at thousands of revolutions per minute. The centrifugal force pushes the heavier sugar crystals outward, while the sticky syrup, known as molasses, is flung through fine perforations and drained away. The result? Golden brown raw sugar, still moist, slightly sticky, and covered in a thin film of molasses. At this stage, the sugar is usable for some industrial and food applications, but it's not yet the pure white sugar most people recognize. The separated molasses doesn't go to waste. It's a valuable byproduct used in the production of ethanol, animal feed, and even baked goods like gingerbread and brown bread. But for table sugar, the clean, bright crystals used in your coffee and kitchen, one more journey remains. That journey continues in the refining stage. To transform raw sugar into the pure white crystals we know, it must go through a precise refining process. First, the raw sugar is melted down into a syrup once again. This step allows any remaining molasses, color compounds, and microscopic impurities to be removed more effectively. The syrup is then passed through clarification filters, such as activated carbon or ion exchange resins, which remove color and trace minerals. This step strips away the brown tint and brings the solution closer to colorless purity. After filtration, the purified syrup returns to a vacuum pan, where the crystallization process is repeated, but under even more controlled conditions. New seed crystals are introduced, and as the syrup cools, pure white sugar crystals begin to form. This second round of crystallization produces sugar that is over 99.9% sucrose, food grade and ready for human consumption. The white masacuate is then centrifuged once again, separating the refined crystals from any remaining syrup. These crystals are washed, spun, and prepared for final drying. Freshly spun refined sugar still retains a small amount of moisture. To ensure stability and shelf life, the crystals are sent through hot air dryers, reducing moisture content to below 0.05%. Next, the dry sugar passes through vibrating screens, which separate it by size: fine, granulated, or coarse. Each grade has specific uses, from baking to beverages to industrial food processing. Oversized or undersized crystals are melted and recycled back into the refining process, minimizing waste. Once graded, the sugar moves to automated packaging lines. Depending on the destination, it's packed into retail bags, bulk sacks, or industrial containers. Robotic arms seal and stack each package efficiently for shipping. But before any product leaves the facility, it undergoes strict quality control tests, checking for purity, crystal size, color, and microbial safety. From field to factory, every grain of sugar is tracked and tested to ensure it meets international food standards. The result? Perfectly consistent sweetness, ready for kitchens, cafes, and food factories around the world. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at how cane sugar is made, and want more in-depth journeys into the world of food, manufacturing, and technology, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a new episode. We've got more fascinating processes coming your way. One grain, one drop, and one invention at a time. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.